just or very similar to the way RIPE policies are made, and meaning that the policies are being discussed by the community from which all of us can be part of. And indeed, the votes within the ARIN AC are casted only by, what, 11 people?
Yes, or whatever the number is.
Or
11,
whatever
15,
the number is. And, but if the community has a very strong voice into changing the policy, and then the AC votes differently, then that means that the AC is broken.
If that were so, then it would be so. But I see no gap between how the electorate is voting and how the general membership wants it to be.
This may be one of those religious topics for another.
Yes, let's have a full religious debate, schisms and inquisitions and everything. Anyway, good luck with that is all I wish to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Hans-Petter Holen, Chair of RIPE. I just want to comment on the exchange of words that was just here. I find it very interesting that an ARIN board member comes all the way to Istanbul to ask how to change ARIN policies. I'll make a note of that. I think the point that Elvis made is that while I like the idealism in the needs transfer in the ARIN policy, I think the danger with having such a policy is that we don't record the transfers. And having heard that we then operate by futures, which is a construction I've never understood, but then I don't play the financial markets either.
It's American.
Yeah, no, I know the details, but I still can't wrap my head around why you would do that. But anyway, it kind of hides what we need to operate the internet in a safe way, namely knowing who is using which IP addresses. And I think that's something that all communities, even the ARIN community, needs to go back and see that how do we keep an accurate registry, which is something that is very important to RIPE. Thank you.
Well said. Let the record show that he agrees. Very good. Thanks, Elvis. It was excellent.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Our next speaker is Tim Hoffman from Twitter. He's going to tell you a little bit about load balancing, beyond hardware load balancing.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Nope, we want to just go back to the first slide. Sorry. No worries. Thank you so much. Hello. I'm Tim from Twitter. I'm leading the Backbone team at Twitter, and wanted to share a little bit about some of the experiences we've had in virtualizing our hardware load balancing technology onto our routers and pushing some of the functionality onto the servers we run as well. So Twitter is an interesting web property in that between Twitter and the 86 acquisitions we have fairly explosive traffic growth. And this is balanced between launching video over the last year, Periscope, Vine, and a few other applications. So we've been regularly adding new services, we've been throwing huge amounts of hardware at our problems, and getting into this position where constantly we're waiting on vendor lead times or vendor features or all these things that we have no control over. And much for the reasons that people are building their own switches, we're in this position where we lack the flexibility to actually control our own destiny and be able to keep up with growth. So we've come from a model where we had Anycast between our sites. This is still the case. And we had a load balancer on a stick connected to all of our routers, or many load balancers. And we were using the load balancers to do some quite traditional things like running health checks against our servers, routing traffic evenly between servers, and directing our applications. We were doing layer 7 filtering of certain types of DDoS attacks. And this was great, but it just did not scale at all. So we kind of sat down a while ago and started asking ourselves what would actually be needed to remove these from our network. There's no way we're going to get rid of the black boxes, which are our backbone routers. There's no way we're not going to have servers producing the content. But there was this layer of these load balancers that we really didn't need, or we were hoping we could get rid of. And we realized that if we could get rid of this, it would be so much easier to scale and manage our network, and it would remove the need for a dedicated team to run this part of our hardware. And in fact, that team now does a whole bunch of other tasks. So we started to look at what the actual options were around load balancing.